What is up, guys? Welcome back to another ranking. Today I'm going to be ranking 70s metal albums, and I already did 70s hard rock in a previous video, but this video we're going to do 70s metal, and I do think the two styles are different enough to warrant different videos, so if you have not already watched that one, feel free to do so after watching this one, and I do explain why I think hard rock and heavy metal, even back in the 70s, were separate. So yeah, now we're going to do the albums that I consider metal from the 70s. And yeah, some of these are kind of on the cusp, but I'd say all of these count as metal, at least for the most part. So yeah, let's get started. We'll start with Paranoid from Black Sabbath. I believe it's on a great tier. I used to think it was an amazing tier, but since a lot of the songs I've heard so much, I got kind of tired of it. But it is still a great album. A lot of the more obscure songs, like, well, not obscure, but a lot of the lesser known songs, like Fairies Wear Boots, Electric Funeral, and Planet Caravan, I really like. But I'm a little tired of songs like Iron Man, Paranoid, songs like that. Warpigs is still pretty good though, even though it's a really popular song from them. But yeah, definitely still a great album, even though it's a little overplayed. Next we got Sad Wings of Destiny from Judas Priest. I put this on an amazing tier. Definitely my favorite album from the band. It mixes heavy metal and other styles of rock like progressive rock, hard rock, and blues rock really well. It has an atmosphere that most other albums cannot replicate. And yeah, it's just a very unique album. The band should be really proud of themselves because almost no other metal album sounds like this. And the emotions and like pianos and other acoustic stuff they do on here really do stand out. It is a very vintage heavy metal album. And it does have a very strong 70s sound, but it's still undoubtedly a metal album. And it does have a lot of variety too. A lot of good riffs. Rob Halford really coming into his own with the vocals after Rock'n'Rolla, which is more like a hard rock album. But this album is undoubtedly metal, and if you haven't listened to it, I definitely recommend it, along with Judas Priest's other 70s albums. I'd say that the 70s was the best decade for them. I'd argue that their 70s material is better than their 80s material. So yeah, I definitely don't skip out on this one. Next, I got Overkill from Motorhead. It was on a great tier. It is pretty short, but it still definitely packs a punch with a lot of great songs. Every song's good, and of course, this is probably the heaviest album released in the 70s. Well, either this or Bomber, but I'd say this one's slightly heavier. So yeah, probably the heaviest and most aggressive metal album of the 70s, with a lot of punk influence, very fast, and a lot of raspy vocals from Lemmy. And the drumming's on point too. The drumming's very fast and very spot on. So yeah, if you want some heavy and fast metal for the time, Motorhead is great for that. And Overkill's a great album from them. And I'd much prefer this over the debut and Bomber. This one's a lot better than them. So yeah, definitely a great punky metal album for the time. Next we got Rock City from Riot. And I put this at a good tier. It is pretty good. There's a lot of good songs, like Warrior, the title track. This is what I get. But there's also a couple songs that are fairly forgettable. But it is pretty good. I do like it. I didn't even know Riot made albums this early until like a few months ago. I thought like they were mainly an 80s band, but they released 2 albums in the 70s, which I didn't even know until I researched 70s metal. So that is interesting to know that they got started with metal this early. But yeah, definitely a great early heavy metal album. Well, not great, but it's still pretty good. Next, I got Saxon's first album. And this is definitely not one of their most popular albums, because Wheels of Steel, Strong Arm of the Law, Denim and Leather, they're more popular. But honestly, I think this is up there with them. I honestly think Saxon's first album is just as good as those. There's still a little bit of progressive rock influence left over. And yeah, it's just a great listen. And it's really short too, it's only 29 minutes, so you might as well listen to it because it's very short. And if you don't like it, you don't have to worry about wasting time because it's only 29 minutes. I do love that album cover too. But it is a great album with a lot of early new wave of British heavy metal stuff on there. And it's really good and really underrated. Definitely a 70s metal classic for sure. Next, we got Survivors by Samson, another early new wave of British heavy metal album. And it's okay. There's a couple of good songs like Big Brother and I Wish I Was the Saddle of a Schoolgirl's Bike. That's an interesting name. And Cause. And Tomorrow or Yesterday. Okay, there are a handful of good songs in here, but there are also a lot of songs that are fairly forgettable. It is alright, but compared to these other albums, it's not as good. But it's still okay. Not bad. Still some good songs. Still some songs I'd add to a playlist. But I can't, because it's not on Apple Music or Spotify. I don't know why. Their other albums are, but not this one for whatever reason. I guess it's just really obscure. But it is made by Samson, so it can't be that obscure. Because they were a fairly popular new Wobbin band. But I don't know. But it's okay. Next we got the Def Leppard EP from Def Leppard. I'd say it's good. Not a lot of people know this, but before Def Leppard were a hair metal band or glam metal band, they were a new wave of British heavy metal band. And honestly, their new wave of British heavy metal stuff is pretty good. Of course, the only thing they released in the 70s was this EP from 1979. It's honestly pretty good. Get Your Rocks Off is a nice song, and the other songs on it are also pretty good too. Of course, it's not very long because it's an EP, but still very underrated. And definitely the most metal sounding thing they made. Well, either this or On Through the Night, which is also good, and you should also go check it out too. So yeah. Next we got Rising from Rainbow. I believe this album an amazing tier. A lot of people like to debate whether or not this album is hard rock or metal. I'd say it counts as metal. I mean, it still has a very strong 70s sound to it, but it is still metal, and a lot of people still very much consider this a heavy metal album. Some people even consider this the first power metal album. I don't know if I go that far, but I do see where they're coming from. But yeah, not a lot needs to be said about this album. It's awesome. It's amazing. Great vocals, great keyboards, great guitars, great drumming, great everything, great lyrics. Just everything's great. It never gets old for me. And of course, that great album cover too. A lot of these 70s metal albums have a lot of great album covers. It makes you more motivated to listen to the music when there's such great art attached to it, right? But yeah, undoubtedly a metal masterpiece for sure. And I'd consider their debut more hard rock than metal, but they definitely cranked up the metalness on this album. Now, this album is much more of a metal album than the first album, which, like I said, is more hard rock. I included it in my other video, but I didn't include Rising because I consider it more on the metal side of things, and that was good for this video. Next, got Taken by Force by Scorpions. Also a very on the cusp album. Well, I'd say it counts as metal. It is very heavy. And a lot of Scorpions' other stuff is more hard rock, but this is one of their more metallic sounding albums, so I thought it was a worthy inclusion. And it's good. I don't listen to it that much, but if I am in the mood for some Scorpions, I do listen to this. There's a lot of good songs, especially towards the beginning. And it does have like a very early German heavy metal sound that I do like. Not a lot of German bands around this time, so it does change things up a little bit. And of course, you have Accept with their first album, but that was a little bit later. Next, we got In Rock by Deep Purple. I consider everything Deep Purple does as hard rock more than metal, but this album's the exception. It's way heavier than any other album they've ever done. A lot noisier, a lot more intense, a lot more fast, a lot more screaming, to where this is the only album from them that I actually would consider metal. And it's very, very heavy, and it's way heavier than the hard rock they usually play. I don't know why for this one album they decided to go way heavier than usual, but it is still a very great album. I put it in amazing tier. It also has a great album cover too, with a British Mount Rushmore. And yeah, a lot of good, catchy, fast, heavy, noisy songs on here, which is really good. I mean, it is sad that they never really made anything quite like it, but it is still a great 70s metal album, and easily the most metal sounding thing they made. And it is very heavy in the best way possible. And it's very memorable, a lot of good riffs, and a lot of good organ and keyboard playing from John Lord. So yeah, another metal masterpiece from this time period. Like I said, I don't really consider Deep Purple metal, but this album's the exception. Next, we got Quartz's first album, another new wave of British heavy metal band. And it's good. This is probably the closest you'll get in atmosphere to Sad Wings of Destiny. I mean, it still doesn't quite sound like it, but if you want to get the closest to it, then the closest to Sad Wings of Destiny's atmosphere probably this album, because it does have a lot of slow, atmospheric, acoustic moments, but it also does get heavy, and it does sound very good. And of course, Tony Iommi produced it, so it also has a very recognizable sound for that too. And it is very catchy and very old school sounding. So yeah, not much to say here other than it's pretty good. Pretty good old school heavy metal album. It's pretty good. Definitely a good obscure classic. Next I got Starlord Baltimore with Kingdom Come. Another album that's on the cusp, but I still say it counts as metal, especially for the time. This is really, really heavy. And some people even consider Starlord Baltimore to be the first American metal band. And it's good. I do like it. Most of the songs are pretty good and memorable. It's very heavy, very doomy sounding at parts too. But there are also a couple acoustic songs that are really good. A lot of fantasy themes. Definitely lay the groundwork for a lot of metal. Definitely another good obscure classic from this time period. So yeah, probably the first American metal album if I'm being honest. So yeah, definitely give this album a shot if you haven't already, which is possible because it is very obscure. Well, not very obscure, but not very well known. But it is a cult classic, and it is very good. Next, I got Budgie's first album, and this is probably the only album on this list I do dislike. This album is not very good. I mean, a lot of people love Budgie, and I can see why. But this album feels like it's bipolar. Like it doesn't know whether it wants to be proto-metal or progressive rock. It doesn't even sound that metal to me, but everyone else considers Budgie a metal band, so I included it anyway. And honestly, I just don't get it. I don't really hear what other people hear. So yeah, it's gonna go into bad tier. Because it's really not for me. Really not a big fan of the vocals either. And I just don't get it. Like I said, I understand why people like Budgie, but they never really clicked for me. And finally, I have Accept's first album, their self-titled. And I guess it's okay. There are a couple good songs like That's Rock and Roll and a few others. But it's still not that good. It's not terrible, but it's not that memorable for me. But the band would go on to create better stuff, so it's alright. But yeah, it's okay. It's fine. Few good songs. One of the first ever German metal albums, similar to what Scorpions did with Taken by Force and Love Drive. But when it comes to the actual quality, I'm not the biggest fan of it. A lot of people can agree with me when it comes to that, because this album is not very popular. The only reason I know about it is because of how old it is. If this album came out 5 years later, it would have definitely been forgotten. But since it came out so early in metal's life, people are like, oh, I mean, Accept got just started with their German metal before a lot of other people, earlier than I expected. So yeah, but besides that reason, there's really not much to say here. And yeah, that's my 70s metal list. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and check out my other videos, including the 70s hard rock video. And of course, I have many other rankings too, and many other videos of other styles as well. So yeah, I definitely had a lot of fun making this. And if you're a fan of 70s metal and you would like to share your own rankings in the comments, then feel free to do so. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.